Happy Thursday. So, today on our walk and talk, we're going to be talking about, well, I want to talk to Charlie about Claude Code, just because it's basically taken over our household the last week.
Sorry.
And I think it's an interesting story, too, because of kind of how it came up and, it's blowing up right now, but also just, Charlie, your kind of experience with it so far and how we're planning to maybe try and experiment using it as he is too. So I think first, Charlie, I think it'd be interesting to talk about like your kind of intro to Claude Code because you almost just gave up and weren't going to use it. Maybe talk through that.
Yeah, so the use case I was trying to solve was we've got almost all of our clients using the data model that we build for them that tracks their pipeline, their life cycle, signals, things like that. It's really great data. We build a lot of reports and dashboards for them, and it's great. But analyzing the data, like anything in go-to-market data, takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
So we would have our team doing the analysis for the client. They would do some, but you're just still scratching the surface of what you can get out of the data.
Yep.
So we've always had this idea of analytics as a service or insights as a service, where we will have a team that does all of that insight generation, figuring exploratory analysis of the data, digging in, finding insights, finding patterns, recommending actions, helping drive improvements. Now, with AI, I started testing around just simple tests of AI analyzing data, like probably over a year ago now. And I was getting like very inconsistent results, issues, errors, bugs.
Yeah.
But then over the last several months, something changed, the models got better, and I was like, okay, you can actually do this now. AI can actually run analysis because it will write a Python script, get the data structured the right way, find the like the best performing reps, the best channels, the highest converting, what conversion rate patterns, all of that, and then you can feed it into an AI to then extract and summarize and present the findings. So I really wanted to build out a repeatable process using our data for all of our clients that we can use AI for this. We've got some bikers here. So I started experimenting with lots of different tools. There's one called Julius. There's another just using like ChatGPT and Claude in the browser. I tried to build like Lovable app, Replit, and I just didn't have the control that I wanted. And
Yeah.
Xander had mentioned Claude Code, and I saw a lot of people talking about it. And I like started down that path, and I was like, nah, this is too complicated. I'm not gonna try. So I stopped and then went back to my other options.
I remember, and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna stop. I think it's just, yeah.
So,
Still
but
not
then,
change your mind.
well, I think Xander was just like, are you sure?
Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah.
I think so. And then I tried it again, and then mind blown, and now I'm on the hype train, very much.
So what about Claude Code do you think has impressed you the most so far compared to like any of the other attempts that you had at doing the analysis?
I mean, I think the kind of, yes, you're having AI build a lot of what you need, right? Writing Python scripts to do the data analysis, stuff like that, figuring out the steps. But actually having that degree of control is what I was really struggling with. Because I think in data analysis, especially when you've got a data set that you know, and it's going to be the same across all of our clients,
Yeah.
we know the pivots we need to do. We know the trends that we're looking for. We know how to do it.
It's just it just takes time. It just
Yeah.
takes a lot of time to like dive deep and do exploratory analysis. And if you're trying to do that proactively, it takes a lot of. It's not even just the dashboards. It's like going to that report, then slicing it this way, slicing it that way, having a filter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And all of that is pretty deterministic. I think, yes,
Yeah.
you should kind of like follow the scent, but you have certain pivots that you can do with the data. So, and if you just like throw a CSV in ChatGPT, for example, and say, analyze this, you know, it will just make up its own way of doing it.
Yeah.
And then every time you go back, it will probably do it a little bit different. Even if you try to do like a custom GPT and give it some instructions, be a little bit different. But the thing with Claude Code, so what I've got now is a set of like modular types of analysis. So we have like sales rep performance analysis, channel analysis, ICP analysis, stuff like that. Each of those has certain Python scripts that will then, you know, like pivot the data, run all of those different like kind of sub-analysis across each of those categories. And then we can feed that data into AI, get back the, you know, most important insights out of that, and then summarize it all. And the problem is, if with the other tools, I couldn't get it to be the same each time, right? So for us, with our clients, we want to run this the same each time. We want to provide this to our team to run.
Yeah.
I don't want it making up different ways to run the analysis, having issues for as we go from client to client to client to client. So because it's storing everything in scripts, and then it can call on those scripts, I've built it into a skill in Claude, so it follows prescribed steps each time.
Yeah.
It's all stored on my computer, so it's pulling from the context. It's pulling from the context of the skill, of the steps, of the Python script. It's running it deterministically each time, but then it's coming up with it's then feeding that into AI, and then obviously every client has different insights,
Yeah.
but it's running the same process each time.
Yeah.
And I felt like that, because that's the unlock where you are able to, oh, it's trash day. Let's go back this way. That's the unlock when you're able to, you know, have this AI coding tool, assistant,
Yeah.
that is saving the process as you go in like markdown files, in these Python scripts. So every time I'm iterating on it, it's then saving that in like a markdown file. Okay, this is how I'm going to do the analysis next time. These are the steps.
Yeah.
It's updating the Python script to eliminate bugs and make sure it's, you know, adding different ways to analyze the data. And it's kind of this self-perpetuating reinforcement loop of development that I just don't think you can do that with any of the other
Yeah.
kind of tools that I had available.
Yeah. I think the great part too is like for those of you who, this is a great set of data to put into this type of analysis, because like you can take out the account information, like any like sensitive PII, and just send over the bare minimum you need for like kind of running the conversion rates and or even like revenue numbers. So I would say, you know, obviously with caution, you know, everyone's going to figure out what they can do at their company, but it's a great place to kind of pull, at least for like that funnel data, and for our clients. That's a really kind of clean set of data. I think you kind of talked about it, but that's like the starting point before you want to do anything like this. But either way, it's a really cool use case, and I'm excited to kind of see how, you know, it develops and rolls out. But in terms of Claude Code, because just holistically, like some people listening to this might be like, Python scripts, markdown files, like I like, you know, maybe I'm not as comfortable with like some of this, you know, it's engineering in a way, right? So, but for, you know, some of the go-to-market operators who want to use Claude Code, what do you think is a good way to kind of get them using the tool in a way that's like not too intimidating, or what resources did you leverage to kind of help you get started?
I mean, there's a few newsletters. Maybe I'll put some in the links here. They're obviously talking to Claude itself.
Yeah.
That was a good way to get started. You know,
Yep.
have Claude open up in the browser and asking it. I'm a very practical learner, so a lot of trial and error.
Trial and error,
Right.
yeah.
And a lot of it, I mean, yes, behind the scenes there's a lot of complexity, but it's not as complicated as I originally kind of expected, right?
Yeah.
So if the way you think about it, it's one thing that you'll do as you set it up is you structure things in, because you're running this locally, right? You're running it on your computer. You're structuring things in folders. So I have like a folder for this data analyst, and it's got everything in there, right? So it's got the Python in there. A markdown file is literally just a text file that just has certain instructions and context, right? So it's just like formatted in a certain way that AI can easily leverage it, knowing what the headings are and things like that. So one, you might have a markdown file just for some context on, if you're doing a different use case, maybe it's like training it on your ICP, you would have a markdown file on your ICP, right?
Yeah.
And you'd be like, these are the types of accounts we go after, etc. And then, skills is where you start to develop more of a repeatable process, right? So like this data analysis that I've built, I just do /analyze, and then it will ask me, okay, what is the data dictionary for this client? Basically asking all the fields that are available in the field names and API names. Then it will then ask me, okay, now upload the CSV. So you upload the CSV, it then matches the data dictionary to the headings of the CSV. And then it performs the first analysis. And I'm gonna have extra steps in there to like go deeper, but it's just a way to like systematize that process for you. And it then knows what to expect and what to do next, as opposed to just like it being a blank slate every time. But the thing that I think a lot of people are very excited about with Claude Code, other than the fact that it can code for you, which is obviously magical, kind of these days people are just like, oh cool, the AI can code for you. But if you think about where we're at like a few years ago, that's kind of a massive deal. But it's creating that context, right? So I pulled all of our, we use Fathom call recording. And this is another thing that's great with Claude Code, right? It can call APIs. So I just say to it, okay, go to Fathom, go read all the API docs. Let's set up the API to pull all of our calls. In 5 minutes now I've got every single call transcript on my computer, right? Super easy.
Yeah.
And it's logged in a database on my computer. So now I can use that for context for other things. And that's like in the folder that I have for all of the calls. We're also working on some messaging and positioning stuff for CS2. So I can call the context of everything that I can like run different analysis on all of those calls and save them in markdown files, like what are the topics and things that our clients are caring about. And I can use that context to then inform my messaging version of Claude Code, where I'm working on messaging. I've got it to read our website, review it, figure out messaging issues, help us kind of come up with different pillars and things like that. And then the messaging guidelines that are being developed in this, I talked about that kind of self-perpetuating cycle. Like as you're learning, you can say, okay, now update our markdown file with our latest version of the messaging. And that's being informed by the call recordings. And then when it comes to like content production or any plans that we have around content, we can now leverage our messaging framework. And I also have like our Notion API in there too, so it will just kind of push to a Notion page every time we like run a new version of our messaging and positioning and make a little update. It'll keep a Notion page up to date for you.
Yeah.
Like the biggest thing here is like, it's really turned AI for me personally from like a Q&A bot to like an assistant that is really doing research, storing that context for me, helping me like update files, create files, like actually do work.
Yep.
And that's I think what most people are excited about. Like it's actually helping them do more and do things better.
Yeah. And you could be doing other things too, like figuring out your strategy and plans as you're waiting for some of that stuff to be done and coded then come back to it. And
you can multitask for sure.
Multitask.
Because sometimes it takes a few minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes for it to do its thing. So you're on the side, like answering Slacks, having calls, eating lunch, and you're at a minimum getting double the output, right?
Yeah.
But probably more.
Yeah. This is cool. I think some of those use cases, especially this messaging one, I think we should get kind of video recorded and sent out through our newsletter. If you're not subscribed, check out cooking up GTM on Substack or go to our website. If not, because we share like more in-depth kind of stuff there around how-tos. But I really think that that's a good one, and probably a lot more Claude Code use case videos coming soon. So
Yeah, I'm only, what, 3 weeks into
barely
this?
2, I
3?
think. Yeah.
Which is crazy to think, like how much we built in
Yeah.
just a couple of weeks.
2,
But
yeah.
that's I guess the thing that a lot of people are getting excited about is how quickly you can get a lot of stuff stood up. So I'm still learning. I still think I'm trying to figure out how this impacts go-to-market, because
Yeah.
everything so far for me has been local on my computer. Yes, you can push, you could push this to the cloud and have kind of apps that your team can log into and stuff for sure. But for me so far, like as an assistant, it's been mostly for me. And then obviously the data analysis, that's something that we are going to have for our team to use.
Yeah.
But like I want to do some more thinking around how does this, get distributed.
Translate. Yeah.
Yeah,
How
like
does it translate to a wider
you've got like
org
a
than
20
just like a
person
singular?
go-to-market team.
Yeah.
How do you use this? Because if everyone's, because a lot of what I think it solves for you personally is creates like a context layer for you personally, right? And for your company or your work, but it's for you, because if you're keeping it local on your computer, it's just for you to leverage.
Right.
But I do think what companies are going to need to figure out is how do you get a distributed context layer that everyone can tap into, so everyone's singing on the same hymn sheet. Because I mean that's another topic for another video. But you don't want siloed context, because everyone's got a different ICP definition, different goal definition,
Yeah.
different personas, and if everyone's kind of like muddled that up, then you're going to have a very incoherent message to the market. So
Yeah.
that's a risk with anything that's like more local to you. But
Yeah.
another story for another day.
Yeah. Well, awesome. That was good chat on Claude Code, and we'll see you on the next time.
There we
I'll
go.
walk with us.